Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, everyone, here we are after market close on Tuesday, August 17th. We're going to take a look at Pinterest today. This was requested by a viewer, so if you have tickers that you would like to see analyses on, just drop it in the comments below. I will snatch it and put it on a list, and I'll get to it as soon as I can. If you don't see me tell you that I put it on the list, feel free to reiterate it in another video or in a higher comment, because I may just miss it. All right, so pins obviously had this really like detrimental reaction to earnings, dropping 18.24%, and then another 3%, and then coming back up a little bit, and then continuing to drop over the last several days. So obviously a couple of things. One, we've left this enormous gap here, and if I do notice sort of a history that pins has with gaps, I do notice that it seems to tend to want to fill them relatively quickly. So this will be one of the bigger tests of that. But if you look here, all these got filled. I don't think this one ever was actually, it was initially a gap, but then this got filled right here. And then even this one very recently. So to me, it's not a given that gaps always get filled. To me, it's a ticker by ticker situation. And so I just try to look historically when there are gaps. Does it more often than not fill it in a reasonable amount of time, which is a subjective measure. But as you see here, this is filling. This one took several weeks, right? This was 211. Oh no, not by the time it was filled, by the time it made another gap. That's what I was looking at. So these are filling pretty quickly. This one is probably actually the longest one. So this one came about at the end of April, and then it finally filled end of June. It started filling mid-June. So, but all of these other ones are filling very, very rapidly. So whether or not that's the case with Pinterest is sort of to be seen. But if we look at a couple of other factors here, we could be wondering where's the floor. It's sitting at a place right now. We could scroll back and see. So there's a previous gap left in this same region. Now this could come down a little bit. What I typically look for is something that's encompassing both previous resistance and support. So if we move it down and we see that there's resistance here around 53.85, and then scroll forward, we see that wick just pops that area in terms of that low points, pretty close within a zone. And now we're getting close to that as well. Now, whether or not it needs to come all the way down there in order to bounce is certainly a question. But it gives us sort of something to look for and keep our eye on. Now, if we look at very, very recent price action, resistance, support, it tried really hard to hold on to that 57.08 area. So I would look to see if it can come back up and try to make another attempt at that again. And to this setup here, we have all this resistance here as it tried to run back up toward the gap pretty quickly, got rejected off. Support over here, support and resistance over here. Okay, support back here, additionally bolstering, and support, resistance that had flipped to support here as well. So that 60.76 level, quite important. So what I would be looking for is if it starts to fill this gap, it might get some stickiness here around 66. You see support, resistance, support. It has a really good chance of working itself through it, historically speaking. Nothing, in my opinion, things generally don't hold up 100% of the time. Even if something has a history of doing something, that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to do it this time. But if you know that it historically acts in a certain way, putting yourself in the best possible situation based on historical precedent can give you a better than chance outcome, meaning, it's a little more information than just flipping a coin and saying this will go up or down. So that's what I look for in the levels and the supply and demand zones side of things. And on the indicators, the MACD, now, even though it did a head fake over here, but that got heavily influenced by earnings. And actually, in terms of like the ability to reverse itself, it's in a better position now because it's so far below the baseline. And even now, the MACD hasn't come down nearly as far as it did back in this area here when it came down to minus 5.08, which is very, very low. Right now it's minus 4.28. And so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Actually looking, it looks like there might be some bullish divergence here as you see this candlestick, this candlestick making a lower low than this candlestick here, yet the MACD coming from minus 4.32 to minus 4.28, which means that it's moving up while the price action is moving down. It slightly did it from here to here as well, although you could make the case that this closed slightly higher. Maybe not. We could see 46.31. 46. Okay, so that did close slightly higher, but then 46.31 to 56.31 to 56.10, and that's where the MACD starts or continues to come up. So if this bullish crossover can effectuate, that could be a good bullish sign, and then sort of see how much oomph this reversal or this crossover has, because it's situated very, very low. It's very well positioned for a big bullish crossover. Can it do it? I don't know. We'll have to see what it does in real time, but the setup is there. Sitting just on or just slightly above oversold territory, so making plenty of room for buyers if they want to come in. But that RSI will be more interesting to me when it makes its first attempt at the midline, right around here, around 50, to see if it rejects off of it or if it continues through it and establishes over. That to me would say it has a really good chance of making a run at overbought for the first time in a long time. Now these MAs are rushing down in fully bearish formation at the moment, and they're going to likely provide additional resistance as the price hits them, if the price can get there. And so we'll have to see how it interacts with those as well as it comes down. But ideally, in a bullish case scenario, the price action can flip above the MAs, and the MAs can help carry it higher. So it being in a bearish trend right now does detract a little bit from this bullish crossover that we could see from the MACD, as well as the bullish divergence. But it still is, potentially a solid sign for reversal on pins. The next few days will be pretty telling, probably. The other big potential driver here, the degree to which institutions or retail en masse follow analysts. This isn't because I think the analysts are correct, but 6 buy, 9 hold, so nothing that's sort of like ravishing in terms of like glowing reviews or anything. But even with that kind of a mixed bag, the lowest price target is 60. All right, so that's almost $4 of upside there. But the consensus, 28% upside, 71.86. So that to me could provide a really good opportunity if it does start to get some teeth in a trend reversal here. That could help sort of tip the scales for some folks or some institutions. I actually hadn't looked to see, so the large scale orders are just kind of flip-flopping back and forth as they're probably trying to figure out if and when there's a reversal happening as well. So that's sort of TBD. All right, well, good luck if you're in pins. I'm going to be watching this one closely for potentially jumping in to take a position, especially if we get this bullish crossover, and just kind of keep a tight stop loss on it is my plan anyway, to see if we can actually reverse trend. But trend reversals are hard, and there's a lot of ways in which that could go against you. So keep a close eye on it, and we'll see what happens. All right, well, thanks a bunch for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.